The request of this client was for a full sleeve Japanese dragon tattoo. And I appreciate the style and the tradition of Japanese tattoos, but I don't really enjoy it. And I think that, well, it's a bit impersonal. So I proposed to him to give me the liberty to reinterpret that kind of style in my own way. And he agreed. He looked at my portfolio and he said, okay, do whatever you want, but of course it has to be recognizable as an Oriental Dragon tattoo. And I said, okay. So I drew on his skin a draft of my idea with markers, and then I used a transparent adhesive paper so that all the marker could stay on the paper, and then I apply a piece of paper, of white paper, beneath adhesive paper. And so I have the freedom to work on the design with my own time, by myself. That's what I'm doing here. Basically, beneath this piece of paper, there is the trace that I did on his skin, and so I had the time to create my own design, to reinterpret whatever I liked the design. Of course, I used some references because, of course, I needed to know exactly how a Japanese dragon is done, how many fingers on his claw, how the waves works, and so on. As I said, it's not my style. It's unusual for me to do something like this, but I accepted the challenge, and I have to say I really enjoyed it. I use colored pencil to do the sketch because in this way I have the chance to sketch, to make even some error or experiment, and then I can move forward with pencils or an ink brush or something like that. So I did this work, and unfortunately, when there is a piece of the process that is out because I forgot to take a video of that part, because when I finished the first sketch, well, not even the sketch, when I finished the work, the complete design, I realized that the curve of the body exactly beneath the temple, I didn't like it. It was flat. It wasn't harmonious as I wanted to do. I just lost myself in the details, in everything else, and I lost that little piece of the design. So what I did, well, I started from scratch again, not really from scratch, because of course I already had the design, but I decided to redo the entire design. So there is a part of the process that is out because, as I told you, I completely forgot to take the video. Here I'm using the ink brush. Yeah, this is the ink brush. So this is the let's call it the executive, the finished design, the first one, before I decided to start all over again to correct that curve that I didn't like. And so this is my way of processing this. Well, at least not all my design, but at least this one, because sometimes I like to use just a pencil, some other time I use color, some other time just digital. But in this way, in this design, I wanted to proceed in a very traditional way. So a lot of outline, black, and then a little bit of shade. Here I'm using a pencil, is a mechanical pencil 1.4. That is the pencil that I use to do all the shadings, because it's big enough to have a decent shading and small enough to take care of the details. Usually I use a 0.5, that is for just the basic design, then the 0.7, and then the 1.4, unless I use pencils, or I use a lot of different techniques. Anyway, This is the design that is ready to be, well, not yet ready, because of course in the video I'm still working on it, but this is the design and I'm pretty happy. I really like the design. I was really proud. I'm still proud of the design that I did, because I think it's really harmonious. You can say it's Japanese or Oriental Dragon, and there are all the details that an Oriental Dragon should have. Well, there is the skull instead of the pearl, and I talked with my client. I told him, look, it seems that the Japanese dragon must have a pearl in his claw, because it's a symbol of wise, if I remember correctly, and well, it's the most powerful tool in the hand of the dragon, at least the traditions say so. And he told me, I don't care, I want a skull, and so skull it is. So I applied the stencil, I think twice or even 3 times, at least for the head of the dragon, because the first time it wasn't correct. I didn't like as it was placed on his arm, so I had to remove it, and I have a technique to apply the stencil that it stays there really for a long time, but it's really hard to take it off. So I had to take off the old stencil and apply the stencil again. So I remember all the morning went away just to apply the stencil. And when we started after lunch, usually I do well, let's call it a trace, an outline with a small needle and just the gray. So on the arm of my client it stays something that could be compared to a design made with pencil, where later on I can work on and develop my design. But this time I decided to start with the actual outline, and well, it wasn't really a good idea. Well, it was a good idea because just in the first day I was able to trace all the outline, and it was ready to shade. But unfortunately that idea took a lot of time, and so at midnight we were still there working on this dragon. Luckily enough, he has strength, a low tolerance for pain. Well, I was wrong, a high tolerance for pain. So he was able to stay there, I don't remember, probably 5-6 hours, I don't know. Anyway, at midnight we finished the outline, of course with pauses, and we take the time to relax a little bit every 1 hour or so. And so I have to say, at the end of the first session, I was really tired. I was really destroyed, and I thought, why I did it in this way? But anyway, it was a good choice, because of course I had basically almost more than half of the work done. Well, maybe not most of the work, because there were still the black, the shadows, and so on. But anyway, this, I think I'm pretty fast in with black and gray, but this time I think I never did a full sleeve in just 3 sittings. I think it's my own personal record. It took a very short time relatively to the size of the tattoo. And so the second in the second session I just had to take care of the shadings and the blacks, and I decided to complete at least all the forearm, and I was able to do that. And in the second sitting, well, the third sitting, I was able to complete the entire work, due also to the high pain tolerance that my client has, because he was able to stay there for 5 or 4 hours, 4 hours and a half. So it was really enjoyable. And because sometimes Well, the average people, at least my clients, can take about 3 hours, 3.5 maximum. Having 1 hour or 1 hour and a half, even 2 hours more to work, it gives me a lot more time to develop my design, of course. And so this really helped. If I had to do the same kind of work with some of those clients that after 3 hours they can't get can get more ink, well, probably I had to add, I don't know, probably 1 or 2 more sittings to complete this work. But luckily this wasn't the case. So a full sleeve in black and gray, even in black and gray, I'm pretty fast with black and gray, but in this case, where the design is basically based as the Oriental style, it's based on the outline. Well, this for me is a record. I remember I did another sleeve with another dragon, another reinterpretation of a Japanese dragon, I think 5 or 6 years ago. Well, I don't remember well, probably between, I don't remember well, between 2014 and 2016, I think it was in that period that I did something in 3 sittings. But if I remember well, I needed a little bit more of time, some more hours, even if the same sittings. And it was still a reinterpretation of a Japanese dragon. Well, maybe I have to work a little bit more in my reinterpretation of Japanese dragons. Well, anyway, it's understandable because, of course, I try to be close as possible anyway to the style that he wanted, even if it was a reinterpretation. So after 700 years of tattooing, Japanese tattooers have developed a way of doing tattoos that take less time because, of course, they have to cover as much skin as possible in less time as possible. So basically having all the design based on the outline, it makes everything a lot faster and effective, because I'm pretty sure this tattoo will stand the test of time really, really well, because all the details, there's no so small details that could become a blob in the time. So, well, I'm pretty proud of what I did. I like it. It's still a Japanese dragon, but it's not flat. It's not so anonymous as many of Japanese works are. It's original. Is still a Japanese dragon. I'm very happy because anytime that someone asks me to do something based on someone else's style or a style that I don't enjoy really much, well, I'm not really happy, but I like to take challenges. So this was a challenge, and I'm pretty satisfied of what I did with this challenge, considering that it's not my style. It's not something that I do day by day. It's something, I would say, random, because basically I do realistic stuff, some cartoonish stuff, realistic, but Japanese style is really, really something that I do, I don't know, maybe once every 3 or 4 years. And yeah, it's enjoyable to do something different. I had the time to learn something new, and as I said, I'm very satisfied, and he's satisfied too, because he has something original, unique, and is not the kind of dragon that you can see very often on magazines or whatever, those kind of Japanese works that are, let's say, yeah, as I said, pretty anonymous. That kind of style that you look at and you think, well, everyone could have done it. So I'm satisfied, is satisfied, and I just asked him to, as I asked to all my clients, to come back after 1 or 2 months so that I could take a video and making a photo shoot of the heel tattoo. And I did the photo shoot and video just before I did another small session, little session, about, I don't know, 10 minutes, just to increase a little bit of contrast. I don't remember exactly where, but I remember we did a half an hour session to increase some contrast. But here it is. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to subscribe to the channel and click the bell. See you soon.